Good evening. It is Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. I am Daniela Edwin. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We are on Flow Channel 117, Kiss FM, the Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, and the Caribbean Hot 7 TV Facebook page. Not forgetting those of you using the Hot 7 plug and play antenna. Thank you so much for joining us. The United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP29, is currently underway at Baku Stadium, Baku, Azerbaijan this year, as 30 countries, collectively responsible for nearly 50% of global methane from organic waste emissions, have endorsed the COP29 declaration on reducing methane from organic waste. This pledge forms part of COP's primary objective, which is to agree on the actions to address the climate crisis, such as limiting the global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius, helping vulnerable communities adapt to the effects of climate change, and achieving net zero emissions by 2050. But how exactly does this commitment trickle down to assisting the tiny Caribbean nations of the Caribbean, such as Saint Lucia, which are the worst affected by the results of these aforementioned emissions? Chantal Stephen tells us more in this report.
This is our planet, and this is beautiful Saint Lucia. As the 29th session of the Conference of the Parties, otherwise known as COP29, climaxes this week, Saint Lucia and the rest of the Eastern Caribbean island states are once again eager to hear and, most importantly, see the results of yet another climate change meeting. At a press conference on Friday to introduce the new resident British ambassador to St. Lucia, Amy Quantrill, British High Commissioner to the countries of the OECS and Barbados, Scott Firston-Wood, spoke to the UK's commitment to continued and new means of support to St. Lucia and the rest of the OECS as it relates to climate resilience, among other current challenges being faced by the territory.
So I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about some of the things that we've been doing here in St. Lucia, the projects we've been supporting, the priorities of the government that we have been proud to associate ourselves with, and then look ahead a little bit about some of the things that we'd like to do in the future. We've got a new government in the United Kingdom, a government that was elected in July this year, and they have emphasised the importance that they attach as our new government to our partnership with the countries of the Caribbean. And so we're excited about lots of new areas of collaboration that we're working on for the years ahead. The work that we've done with St. Lucia in recent years has really been focused on supporting St. Lucia's resilience. That's economic resilience, so resilience to the sorts of external economic shocks which can be so difficult for small island developing states to withstand, resilience to climate change in particular, and how we can work together to support St. Lucia to be more resilient to those effects of climate change.
Mr. Firston-Wood spoke specifically to the innovative solutions that can be applied to aid St. Lucia and the rest of the islands of the Eastern Caribbean against the effects of climate change.
If we're all going to tackle the effects of climate change, we've got to find new ways of doing that, and technology provides some really interesting opportunities. There are all sorts of exciting technologies out there, and it's really important that those opportunities can not only be developed but shared, so that they're reaching the people who need them most. Those are technologies both on the mitigation side, so that's reducing the amount of emissions that countries are producing, but also on the adaptation side. So that's helping countries to increase their resilience to the effects of climate change. Quite a lot of that exciting technology is being developed in the UK, but it's happening all around the world, and we need to share it, because this isn't a challenge that affects any one country individually. It's a challenge that we all share, and we're really determined to do that. Actually, as you probably know, COP29, the Global Climate Change Summit, is taking place as we speak in Azerbaijan. We, the UK, have made a number of major new commitments at COP29 this week, funding commitments, as well as commitments about the reduction of our own emissions. And as part of the 11.6 billion pounds that we committed in international climate finance, we made some new commitments this week. And one of those speaks to exactly the point that you've raised. It's a new commitment to support the development of the sorts of innovative technologies and other projects which can help with things like decarbonisation and with clean hydrogen and all of the technologies that we'll need to embrace if we're going to combat the challenge of climate change that we're all facing.
COP29 concludes on Friday, November 22nd, 2024, and it is anticipated that President-elect Donald Trump will make good on his threat to pull the United States from the Paris Agreement, which effectively binds all the world's countries to dramatically slash carbon pollution. Speaking to reporters at Baku on Monday, 11th November, the first official day at COP29, John Podesta, a senior White House advisor on clean energy, who is also leading the U.S. delegation at the UN Climate Conference in Baku, Azerbaijan, stated that we still have plenty of work to do, and we have around 72 days, I think, to get it done. He further stated that the Biden administration was fully committed to obligating outstanding funding under Biden's climate law, the Inflation Reduction Act. The current administration has other major things left on its to-do list, including finalizing California's federal waiver to set its own emission standards and completing a federal review on U.S. exports of liquefied natural gas. A U-turn on U.S. climate policy could be disastrous for the planet, as it raises the risk of emulation. When America does something on the world stage, at least some countries tend to follow. Thankfully, Saint Lucia and the rest of the OECS and Barbados are in safe hands as the United Kingdom reaffirms its new government's commitment to continued aid and support.
I suppose our flagship project, perhaps the biggest and most visible thing that we've been doing here in Saint Lucia, is our support for the Millennium Highway and West Coast Road Upgrade Project, the Julian Alfred Highway, as it's now going to be called. We've been supporting this project with a grant of $37 million US dollars. As I say, that's grant, that's not a loan. That's a grant that we've been giving to the government of Saint Lucia, delivered through the Caribbean Development Bank. And this is part of our UK Caribbean Infrastructure Fund, which is a portfolio of climate resilient, socially responsible infrastructure projects across the whole of the Caribbean. And that whole portfolio of projects is worth about $500 million US dollars. And again, that's all grant money, not loan. But here in Saint Lucia, it's the road project. And I'm delighted that project is now taking shape, and we hope to see lots more progress over the months ahead.
The other projects highlighted by Commissioner Fisden Wood are the exploration of geothermal energy and the continued economic support to the honey and sea moss farmers through UK funding from the IMF and the Inter-American Development Bank. For the Hot 7 TV News, I am Chantel Stephen reporting.
On Wednesday, November 13th, 2024, the Special Operations Team of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force conducted an exercise within the Northern and Central Policing Divisions. In the Central Division, officers executed a search warrant on the premises of Kilian Miguel Jalouis at Bagatelle Castries. This search resulted in the discovery and seizure of 4 rounds of 9mm ammunition. Kilian Miguel Jalouis was arrested and subsequently charged for the offense of possession of ammunition. Jalouis was escorted to the 1st District Court, where he submitted a bail application. Following his bail hearing, Jalouis was granted bail in the sum of $5,000 cash or suitable surety. Coming up next, Commerce Minister stresses on hygiene practices for coconut vendors following Castries Central MP announcement of plans for their relocation. And police operation results in seizure of illegal guns and drugs. The details to these stories and much more when we return.